It's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make cake, cookie, and decorating tutorials. However, today is an organization video. So if you've watched any of my other videos on how I organize my home-based baking kitchen, then today is kind of an extension. It's kind of the what happens when you get too many baking supplies for your small little space. So I said this before, I don't really film a whole lot in this kitchen. I think that's turning into a lie because the last couple of videos I have filmed in here. So I'm going to be showing you what I do with my overflow of baking supplies. So I know I've shown you guys my cookie cutter wall before. I also showed you how I organize my sprinkles, but we have gotten out of control with our sprinkles. As you can see, things are stacked on top of each other, which they should not be. So already I have some of those new shelves installed in there, but I will show you the process of putting those up. It's really just my husband putting them up for me. And I'm also going to be showing you how I prepped and cleaned all of those other things that I had in my haul video that I got from my friend's bakery, in which she cleared out all of these supplies. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how I organize all of the overflow in my small second kitchen. So let's get into it.
So there was a lot of cornstarch on a lot of these items, so I did need to give it a really good soak. And fun fact, I did burn my hand while doing this. I really turned that up high because I sometimes find if I don't have the temperature of the water high enough, then that residue doesn't come off. Whenever I'm using my own cake tools, I do make it a point to clean it within that 24-hour period, just because I find a lot of residue does build up. My house does collect dust in some weird places too, so I do want to try to make sure to get that cleaned off. Then I let that dry for about 24 hours. I always find too, if I try to dry things by hand, it doesn't always get 100% dry. And as I was doing that, my lovely husband started putting up the shelves for me after spending what felt like 2 hours at IKEA. Have you guys been to IKEA lately? Our local IKEA is always jam-packed full of people, and there's always huge lineups. Luckily, I snagged the last few of these shelves, and I made sure to stock up on quite a bit this time so we wouldn't have to go back for this particular thing. So I mentioned this a lot in my past video where I actually organized this in the first place, but like I said, nothing is ever stagnant. Things are always ever changing because, as we know, my collection continues to grow. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. And I personally find when I don't have the actual organizational tools available to me, everything starts to get a little bit messy, and there's cakes everywhere. There are things that are disorganized in here, and all the way out here is where I have all of those cookie cutters drying. Yes, it has taken over my other main kitchen.
Now I'm officially ready.
So my thought process as I was organizing was to put all of the things I don't really use super high up. Now I do use those things seasonally, but I decided that since it's not something that I just come out here and grab, I will put them super high because I won't need to access them. The nice thing about organizing kind of in steps rather than having all of these shelves here all at once is I've really learned what works for me in this kitchen. And I do like that easy access of all those colorings and things like that. But I noticed that my gel food coloring and my airbrush coloring definitely needed their own dedicated shelf. It was just getting too messy and I couldn't really see the colors that high up. Organizing those shelves was very satisfying and was fairly quick. Organizing all of these cookie cutters was a lot less satisfying, but I cannot tell you guys enough how much I love this whole idea of the slat wall. Now, a lot of you have voiced concerns about dust or things not being clear enough for you to see, but this experience of adding in nearly 100 more extra cookie cutters showed me that this is the way to go. Now, I actually have more slat wall on the way, and I ordered a bunch of hooks, but they came in silver, so I was very disappointed, so I just kind of had to work with what I had. Now, you might be asking me, why didn't I just leave it and wait for the slat wall to arrive and wait for the proper hooks to arrive? Well, the reason being is because I can't just leave that many cookie cutters out all over the place. What I love about the slat wall, as opposed to even a pegboard, is that I can move a whole hook really easily and make sure that everything is still in its proper categories. Now, the thing that I did find tricky about this is the fact that because I didn't have enough slat wall, I couldn't really separate things out as best as possible. And because I didn't have as many hooks as I wanted, I couldn't separate things out. But once I receive all of those things, I'm sure I will be able to do that in a better manner. All right, moving along to that final part of organizing the haul that I was given by my friend, we are going to put up some more pegboards. And yes, we are down in the craft room now. Reason being is that I found when I kept the ribbon in my kitchen, I sometimes got residue on it. So just to protect that ribbon, we are putting up all of the ribbons in here, which makes sense too because this is my wrapping and craft room. And I'm not going to use the ribbon solely for cakes, though a large majority of it will be used for that. Now that was technically the last part of the bulk of the haul. Now I'm just kind of putting away all of the miscellaneous things that I haven't been putting away, plus all of those impression mats and fondant molds that I was given too. Oh, and the chocolate molds as well. Now I will say that that little area is getting very, very full. And in my previous video where I first organized that, I talked about how I didn't think that that would be a very long lasting solution. And I already have some thoughts in mind about how I'm going to organize those a little bit better. The whole thing is with those impression mats, I can't really see which one is which. They're not in a particular order. Again, though, I don't use them that often, but it's mainly because I haven't had a lot of impression mats. So definitely in future videos, I'm going to show you guys how I organize my stencils, chocolate molds, and impression mats in a way that I'm actually happy with and that works with my space available. So here is my cookie cutter wall. I often showcase this, and now it's even more full than ever. I think in my previous video, I mentioned how I really tried to keep only one cookie cutter per hook, but after working with this cookie cutter wall for a few months now, I discovered that stacking like cookie cutters together on the same hook was actually a lot more convenient because I would end up using them in clumps like that. As I mentioned before, my gel food colorings and my airbrush colorings were all mixed up together, so it was difficult to see what I was grabbing, especially because it is kind of dark in my kitchen sometimes, and they were also too high up, so I made sure to put them on the bottom row. And I just love looking at all of those sprinkles. There's definitely ample enough sprinkle room up there at the top, and there's plenty of room for me to invest in more fondant, so I'm going to do just that. And here finally is the ribbon wall. I absolutely love this wall. I did try to organize it with ribbon type, sparkly on the bottom, and then the more basic, and then the more designs on the top row there.
All right, guys, so that is the end of the video. Now, I did get rid of more cookie cutters. So I was thinking I want to start a Patreon, and I know I've talked about this before, wasn't a whole lot of interest in it, but I want to do some sort of giveaways or something on there that's a little bit easier, that's a little bit more with a smaller group so that I can give away stuff, because I give so much stuff away to people locally, and honestly, I think they're a little bit overwhelmed with it. So I would like to start doing more giveaways for you guys, my subscribers. I know a lot of you guys maybe don't have access to some of these things, so I would like to start doing that. I don't know exactly the route that I'm gonna go with that, but just letting you know that that's the page that I'm on right now. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye. You can say hi now.